Good morning. I'm delighted to be here this morning and to join you at one of the premier events in the world of information technology. I'd like to start today with 3 anecdotes about people and technology. The first is a story about a first-time computer buyer who set up his new computer, connected all the wires, and when he turned it on so he could start surfing the web, got absolutely nothing, not even a blip on the screen. After checking and rechecking the connections, an experienced friend finally discovered the problem. The computer novice had plugged the surge protector back into itself instead of into the wall socket. And the second story is about a woman who was repeatedly putting her credit card into the floppy drive of her computer and then pulling it out very quickly. When asked what she was doing, she replied, "I was shopping on the internet, and they asked for my credit card number, so I'm using this ATM thingy." Now, as humorous and as unbelievable as these may seem to people like you who attend Network World Interop, they're supposedly true stories. The third item strikes a little closer to home, and it appeared a couple of weeks ago in USA Today. The story was about CEOs who were forced out of their jobs because their companies failed to get connected with an effective internet strategy. And the danger is not just for high-tech companies, it also applies to many other kinds of businesses, such as consumer goods and financial services. No matter what level of sophistication you're on, it can be embarrassing and it can be costly to think that you're plugged into the most important trends and opportunities when you actually are not. In other words, we must be careful not to get plugged into our own surge protectors. So we come to events like this one in the hopes that we will see the future first. And although the future is really anyone's guess, today I'd like to give you my opinion of what's about to happen, especially with telecom networks. Now, St. Augustine said that the present, and I would add the technological present, does not really exist because the present moment is always in dissolution, ever divided between the past, into which it is disappearing, and the future, which is not yet arrived. Right now, separate networks are in dissolution. We're on the eve of their evolution into integrated systems, which clearly is the future. We will see the integration of technologies, the integration of services, and the integration of applications. I'll begin with a quick look at some of the underlying forces that are driving this integration. In 1472, the library at Queen's College in Cambridge, England, had precisely 199 books. And as late as the height of the Renaissance, there were people who could still claim to have read every important book that was ever written. Now, it's not so easy to keep up anymore, and I could give you any number of gee-whiz facts to prove this from the thousands of items that every day slam into the loading docks of the Library of Congress to the roving data that is flowing over national communications networks. But I think that the changes that you and I face cut much deeper than this. Let me offer a couple of ideas that came up a few weeks ago during an event that Sprint sponsored in New York. We brought together a number of leading thinkers about communications, including people like Nicholas Negroponte of the MIT Media Lab, and Don Tapscott, the author of The Digital Economy. One topic that got a lot of attention was e-commerce. Here was a dramatically new way to reach customers that can lower entry barriers for new competitors and make it difficult to defend market share. Don Tapscott called e-commerce a tsunami that's only a few hundred yards off the beach, out of view of most people, and a threat to business as we know it. Now, I'm not going to try to predict how great the impact of e-commerce will really be or how fast it's going to happen. But it is obvious that the internet is much more than just another window into the marketplace. It has the potential to become a marketplace unto itself. Key retailing concepts such as merchandising and transaction processing, delivery and customer service all require new solutions in this new theater of operations. Suddenly, IT is no longer just a matter of transporting, storing, and directing information. IT will go straight to the heart of defining, penetrating, and serving markets. In the traditional IT world, defining, penetrating, and serving markets have not been direct concerns of CIOs and network managers. But in a world where the marketplace itself resides in your networks, in a very literal sense, this will change. In the past, CIOs and network managers mainly ensured that information arrived at its destination and was available for on-demand access. But in a world where markets and networks converge, network managers must do more than just send information and make critical data readily available to business managers. They must add value to the information. The goal must be to turn data into intelligence. Intelligence is the currency of the new digital network economy. Now, that's not a new concept, but most CIOs and network managers are still focused, and for good reason, on the bulk commodity of information, not on the product of intelligence. Going forward, however, I believe that their roles will expand in a variety of ways. For one, they'll be called on to provide the systems and the expertise to make businesses operate in a truly collaborative way. And great demands are going to be placed on CIOs and their staff members to help develop the new strategies and the business models required to compete successfully in a cyberspace market. But before this transformation can occur, companies must transcend the technology so that they can concentrate on its application. In other words, they must devote less time and resources to actually running networks and focus more on how to make the networks run the business. And I see three basic reasons for this. The first is focus. Companies today are trying to both keep up with the technologies in their core businesses and, at the same time, stay current with the latest support technologies, both of which are constantly morphing into something new. Now, this results in valuable resources which could be used to focus on core operations being diverted to the support side of the business. In the digital network economy, outsourcing functional expertise like support technology is a competitive necessity. The second reason is people. If companies try to keep responsibility for their own technology, they face the obstacle of obtaining and retaining scarce and expensive technical talent. How can a global food processing company or a retail conglomerate compete for limited technological expertise with companies like Sprint, whose core business is technology? I heard the other day that Microsoft offered stock options to the husband of one very hot job candidate, conditioned on him convincing her to move to Redmond. And the third is technological obsolescence. Buying and owning equipment and software applications is a big risk with big costs. Routers, servers, minis, and mainframes all place a bet on the next technological development, and most become obsolete soon after rather expensive installations. Most companies should take their risks by investing in core operations rather than in supporting technology. My point is that companies must look beyond the wiring to the wisdom. They must look beyond what the network is and how it operates, to what it can do to meet business objectives. Now, over the past several years, Sprint has come to some conclusions about all of this. We no longer see ourselves competing with traditional telecom companies. And we no longer see ourselves either as a product or a service company. We're going from thinking of Sprint as just a telecommunications company to becoming the #1 integrated communications company. We see our business focus changing from simply helping our customers connect business operations to developing solutions that allow our customers to collaborate in ways that they can't yet imagine. Collaboration will liberate new bursts of productivity, creativity, and growth. Collaboration is the next level beyond plain old communications. The convergence and integration of technology are only the means to this. Let me give you a better history of how we have come in Sprint to this conclusion. At Sprint, we've been pursuing our vision of the future for a number of years, but something happened in 1997 to speed up our plan. In March of that year, our engineers recommended that we close the book entirely on building traditional communications networks. They said that we should take the variety of voice and data networks that we run and collapse everything into a single efficient system. And that's what we're doing, which in turn opens up all kinds of other opportunities. Last June, we announced our integrated on-demand network, or Sprint Ion. And based on a number of proprietary technologies, Ion is a single, intelligent system that integrates voice, video, and data services. It delivers virtually unlimited bandwidth on demand. It ensures that our customers' network communications will always be state-of-the-art because Sprint takes responsibility for it. In short, Ion both simplifies and magnifies communications technology for the customer. Now, I could describe what Ion delivers in typical corporate speak, but in plain English, I'd simply say it uncorks the flow of knowledge. I'd like to take a couple minutes to review the basic elements of Ion because we believe it leads to the larger technological trend, the whole concept of collaboration. The Ion stands for integrated. Ion would not be possible without the black box that we call the Integrated Services Hub. This is the device that integrates all of our customers' various traffic streams, local and long-distance voice, LAN, frame relay, internet, intranet, extranet, ATM, fax, and video into a single high-speed data stream. Sprint will be responsible for the entire life cycle of the hub, all the way from provisioning and installation to maintenance and operation. On demand is the O in Ion, and until now, businesses had to install private lines to meet their bandwidth needs. With Ion, companies can expand and contract the bandwidth as needed, instantaneously, from the desktop, and they pay for only what they use. We estimate that Ion will save most businesses 5 to 15% in the short term and up to 25% long term on access, equipment, and management costs. And many customers will see even greater savings. The N in Ion stands for network. The beauty of Ion is that it's an intelligent network. It's compatible with all of our customers' networks, their equipment, their applications, and eliminates the costs and the risk of technological obsolescence. As the Wall Street Journal has pointed out, our competition are focusing on improving existing networks, while Sprint is scrapping the old design for an entirely new system. Now, the best and the easiest way to understand anything is, of course, to actually see it in a live demonstration. Now, I know a live demo in front of a group of experts is risky, but I've asked Pete Hansen from the Sprint Applied Technology Center in Kansas City to help me show you how Sprint Ion works. Good morning, Pete.
Good morning, Bill. I guess you could say I'm going to be the hands part of this hands-on demo.
Well, you have your work cut out for you because I think we have an awful lot to show. Sprint Ion offers a full range of services for a variety of user applications, everything from the integrated large business solution to the consumer market. But today, since this is a business-oriented audience, we're going to focus on large business and small business home office capabilities. Pete?
Right, but before we begin, I'd like to reiterate that this is a live, fully operational demo. It contains no simulations, no smoke and mirrors. This technology works.
We're going to show you some things we haven't shown anyone before, including some key network elements like the Sprint service node. Pete?
Right. This bank of equipment lies at the heart of the Sprint Ion network. We already have Ion deployed in 26 cities around the country, and in those places we have installations very similar to this. You're looking at an ATM edge switch, which we're using to provide services to larger customers, and a DSL access multiplexer, or DSLAM, to deliver broadband solutions to small businesses, telecommuters, and ordinary households. Now, as you can see, we've run cabling from the service node to the integrated services hub in each of the areas. To my left is a kitchen area where we have the consumer set up. Straight ahead is an area for large business. And to my right is the small office, home office setup.
One of the problems that small businesses always have had is that they can't afford the big pipes that large companies have. And that has limited their ability to compete.
That's right, and we have a solution. A typical home office like the one I'm stepping into right now usually has a line coming in for the telephone, another one for the fax machine, and yet another one for intranet service. In the worst case, the small office may have only one line and try to run all those devices off of it. You can imagine the problem that creates. Something like video conferencing is all but impossible because you just don't have the bandwidth. But imagine if you could run all those functions off just one connection and have bandwidth to spare.
I think we may have some skeptics in the audience, Pete.
All right. Well, look at this. This is our integrated services hub, a small device that we install on the customer premises. Here on the back plane, I have connections for the telephone, fax, and LAN. From the front of the hub, going into the network, I have just this one connection. This is the very same physical copper-twisted pair that we have installed in all of our homes today. The difference is that this one has been provisioned with ADSL service. Now, this line goes back down into the raceway and into the DSLAM and the Sprint service node.
Are those special computers or phones?
No, absolutely not. The computers and the phones are all standard off-the-shelf units. The secret is the hub. Simply put, the hub takes any protocols that a customer is running on their premises, converts them to ATM, and then sends them out over the network as an ATM cell stream. Now, this has a couple of advantages. First, you don't have to change anything behind the hub. If you've been running frame relay, it'll still look and smell and feel like frame relay to you. If you've been running IP, it's still IP, and so forth. It's only when it gets to the hub that it becomes ATM. Now, that conversion to ATM brings me to the second advantage, more efficient use of your access lines. You'll no longer need the expense and hassle of separate pipes for every service or protocol you want to run. Your access bandwidth can be allocated dynamically, on demand, for any service you're running based on the needs of the moment. And because it's ATM, you can assign different classes of service for every protocol. The best for voice or video, the lowest for IP or email.
Show us some more, if you will, Pete.
Okay. Now, for this demo, we'll be using asymmetrical digital subscriber line, or ADSL, with 6 to 8 megabits of bandwidth downstream and 1 megabit upstream. But what's really important is how the customer accesses the bandwidth via a graphical user interface that's easy to use and understand. This is the Iom Desktop Manager, or DTM. Now, thanks to this web-enabled technology, users can just point and click to access any content, services, or applications they want. Now, I should point out that the DTM you're seeing here is an early prototype. When we roll Ion out to the consumer and small business markets later this year, the interface will have a different look, but it will include all the functionality I'm about to describe here. Now, the buttons along the bottom are user-definable so that they can be set up for websites that you visit a lot. A simple click is all it takes to access information about sports, stocks, weather, news, even a TV programming guide.
What are the gray buttons along the side? Tell us about those.
Okay, well, this is where the real Iom functionality resides, enabling the user to instantly do things like personalize their phone service, gain access to video, email, or the internet. For example, by clicking on this account management icon, users can customize or rearrange their phone service, turning caller ID, call forwarding, call waiting, or three-way calling on or off based on their current needs.
Which means you can choose to pay only for the services that you use?
That's right, and most importantly, you're in control of your telecommunications services. You can even add a virtual phone line on demand or get a complete log of your calling activity.
That all sounds great, but I think what everyone really wants to see is how Sprint Ion lets you initiate multiple simultaneous sessions over a single phone line.
Okay, then let's do it. Let's start with a video conference. I'm launching a desktop video call at 384 kilobits per second, and I'm calling my colleague, Angela Buccigrossi. Now, as you can see, our connection is already going through, and there she is. Hi, Angela.
Hey, Pete, how's it going?
Just fine, thanks. Thanks for joining us today. You know, folks, since this demonstration of Sprint Ion gives us 8 megabits per second downstream and 1 megabit upstream, even for small or home office customers, we have more than enough bandwidth for this modest application. This is an off-the-shelf desktop video system, and it also allows us to collaborate on any application.
Even though this is modest bandwidth by Sprint Ion standards, that's something you can't do using conventional modem technologies. At best, they only support 56 kilobits per second, and even with an ISDN line, you can only get 128 kilobits max.
That's right. So for any of you application developers out there, you're looking at an opportunity with images from the desktop video system. Right now, almost no one has written an algorithm for more than 384 at the desktop. But with the bandwidth of Ion, there's an opportunity for a high-resolution video system. It used to take 3 relatively expensive ISDN lines to do this kind of desktop video and collaboration, and even then, you couldn't carry on a simultaneous phone call over those lines.
Because of the bandwidth that Sprint Ion offers, you can do that. And you can do it cost effectively. In fact, get ready, because I'm going to call you right now using this Sprint PCS phone.
Here's my phone. Hi, this is Pete at the Sprint Ion Demo Center.
Hi, Pete.
As you can see, I didn't have to terminate my video session in order to take your call. But we're not finished yet. Let me keep this call up. And we're going out to the web now to do some surfing.
With Sprint Ion, you're on the net all the time. Right, Pete?
Yep, that's right. You don't have to dial up access to the internet. You just select the internet icon and you're there. So right now, I'm going to download an 8 megabyte file, which represents about 2,000 pages of single-space text.
And we can get that done before this demonstration is over? These people have a lot to do.
Well, with a 28.8 modem, it would take at least 90 minutes, but with Sprint Ion, it only takes about 20 seconds. Plus, it's doing it while we continue our phone call and the desktop video session. And even while we're downloading the file, the voice remains full quality.
That would mean that the Sprint Ion solution is 200 times faster than a 28.8 modem and 100 times faster than a 56 kilobit modem.
That's right, and what's more, because the services don't have to compete for bandwidth as they would with an IP-only solution, there is no voice quality degradation. Sprint Ion delivers the voice quality consumers expect and demand. And we don't need multiple phone lines to make it all happen. Everything is running over the same line at the same time.
Well, with that kind of speed, you could download things like interactive video games and video on demand.
Absolutely. Whatever content is available can be quickly accessed with a simple mouse click on these buttons right here. And what's more, users can also enjoy a virtual presence in their home or in their office while they're at home, including capabilities like PBX functionality, billing, and security.
That means that work at home can become a reality because remote employees can have access to the same kinds of communication services they have at their corporate offices.
That's right, Bill. And that's a great segue to the large business setup we have over here. Now, I'm not going to take you through a full-fledged demo over here because you'd see many of the same things you've already seen, but Sprint Ion allows a large business to converge all its various networks into the integrated services hub for large business. IP, frame relay, voice, video, data, fax, they all feed directly into the hub. Now, if you're managing all these networks today, you're constantly upgrading. You're worried about the latest technology, and you also have to keep staff on hand to keep those networks running.
And Sprint Ion offers a solution to that problem.
Right, because with Sprint Ion, a large business is future-proofed. First, Sprint installs the hub, and then we manage everything from the hub on. We'll upgrade the hub to the latest technology. We take great pride in our network. As you've said many times, Bill, it'll always be leading edge. Now, since the business customer doesn't have to manage multiple networks, it frees up valuable technical talent for other, more critical needs. And also, if both my office and my home are on Sprint Ion, I suddenly have a virtual presence in the office. I have access to that LAN at speeds comparable to those in the office. I can video conference, I can exchange data, I can do things I've never been able to do before.
We only have a few minutes left, Pete. What's with the kitchen over there?
Well, that's our home demo area. We chose the kitchen for the demo to make a point. As we well know, almost every device in the home has a computer chip in it, and predictions are that we'll see more chips in our everyday lives. So if you think futuristically, that means you could actually see things like, you could use Ion to remotely control things in your home. Let's say your burglar alarm goes off while you're away. Your PCS phone can instantly notify you, and you can dial back into your home PC to check things out. And I wouldn't be surprised if someone didn't develop an application that would allow you to remotely get a look around your home to see if someone has actually broken in.
It's exciting to think about the potential for the future, and with Ion, even today, you have the same advantages in your home as we saw in the small office demo.
That's right. You can conduct simultaneous phone calls, be on the internet, even conduct a video conference, all at the same time over the same connection.
So to sum up, you have unmatched control and flexibility because you can activate and personalize the services to meet your specific needs. Dynamically allocated bandwidth, so you can access the bandwidth you need on demand and only pay for what you use. And best of all, you can conduct multiple simultaneous sessions all over the same twisted pair connection without ever experiencing any service degradation. Pete, thanks for your help today.
Thank you.
What you have just seen represents a powerful enabling technology as we enter a new age of collaborative work relationships. True, you can already achieve much of what we've shown with conventional technologies. But who amongst us has the budget with that kind of power in the hands of all of our internal and external stakeholders, the entire team that our companies depend on? The bottom line is you're going to need that power to achieve true collaboration. And the affordable technology that makes it possible is here now. As an example, Ion allows the company to connect with all of its suppliers and provide them with software through our network to their desktop. Think what that kind of means. Totally new business models are made possible. And as I said before, new business models will be a necessity for many, if not most companies, as the markets we serve move into cyberspace. The result of all this is that the traditional duties of the network manager are going the way of the key punch operator. Network managers today worry about whether a router is up and not about the applications going over that router. We foresee network managers moving far beyond concerns about connectivity, speed, efficiency, and quality to focus on the competitive marshaling of business strategies and processes. We believe the information technology team will not be seen as a cost center, but as a business unit, creating competitive advantages by pursuing business objectives. In closing, ladies and gentlemen, economic theory tells us that those who add the most value reap the greatest rewards. The business of simply sending information, whether the job of an old-fashioned telecom company or today's network manager, is a commodity business of the past. Collaboratively, adding intelligence to data is the business of the future. This is the direction that Sprint is headed. And I wish each of you the very best as you make your own journey on this road to the future. Thank you.